lies. One is the physical perception through my eyes. See, one is the physical perception. This physical perception is not going to help you find the truth. Then other perception is from here, what we say, the third eye perception. So the third eye means the perception through discernment and dispassion. You see the world with discernment and dispassion. The world is constantly changing. Today I have a pain in the body, tomorrow I have a pleasure, again today pain, and tomorrow pain. Today is discomfort. Today I don't have a job, and tomorrow I have a job. So with the discerning knowledge and the dispassion knowledge, your intellect perceives the world. What happens? You bypass a small pain and the pleasure, small discomfort. You know they are bound to come. They are bound to come. And then there is another perception. Another perception is coming from the heart. So when you reach to the highest level of discernment and dispassion, that third eye slowly activates your heart, a perception of the love. Where is that perception of the love? That, oh, we all are real self. That completes the 360-degree perception, and that is what is known as awakening. That is known as a goal. Now your mind is not getting carried away by the likes and dislikes, by the duality, by delusion, by dispassion, by pride. Perhaps she might have seen something on my face, some irregular cut, and she said, no, I'm sorry. I said, what I have to do with, people are not going to focus on that. I should have an instant awareness of that. Now, if you carry the physical perception, you have a linear perception in your life. Linear perception says you are bad, he is good, she is bad. You continue with the likes and dislikes. I'm bringing this 360-degree perception at an application level. If you don't bring it at a 360-degree level, mind is not going to change. Mind will continue to demand. Mind will continue to focus on its desire. So what we have covered in the last couple of weeks, then we have to contemplate instantly. You see, this event, this example covers all these aspects. The step number 1 is understanding the desire versus the self-fulfillment. I have to focus on self-fulfillment, desire fulfillment. Self-fulfillment is also a desire. I desire the real self. I am desiring the permanent peace and happiness. Will it feed me? It will create a favorable condition for you to get fed. No doubt. It will not offer you the job. That is very clear. Be very clear. Self-fulfillment. But if you continue with the self-fulfillment, that intense desire in your life, self-fulfillment, I am desiring that real self which is of the nature of peace and happiness, which is a multi-dimensional, 3-dimensional consciousness which is all pervading. When I live into that, my small desires will definitely be fulfilled. But it does not mean that desire fulfillment, I should add the craving, I should add the possession. Those will not be fulfilled. Yes, if you had the past impression, it will also be fulfilled. Now, have you seen some masters? They are millionaires. So it is also that. So remember this. Don't break your belief. Have 100% faith that once I have a self-fulfillment, it will not only awaken to me, but what it will do? It will take care of my personal, professional, social life because it encompasses the entire journey of my life. You wake up in the morning, you have an anxiety. Mind is causing the anxiety. You say, I'm not listening to you, mind. I'm listening to the higher consciousness. You have tried this to put me into anxiety how many times? 100 times. I'm not interested. Anxiety will go away. I can bet you. But we don't want. We want to follow the mind. That is a limited perception. It's a 180 degree. Mind moves in a linear movement. Second, self-inquiry begins by understanding. So what happened, I said? First is the desire fulfillment versus self-fulfillment. That I need to understand. My mind is overwhelmed with the desire fulfillment. 90% of the time, it is obsessed with the desire fulfillment. One of my clients, is filing the bankruptcy. But I know his entire life for the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, he just entered into drinking. He had a lot of money. He bought 10 caveat, caveat. What we say, there is a caveat or Mustang, he bought that 10 Mustang and he rented on them. He was just spending his life on intoxication. And then he became aware. Then he returned to this beer guy. So that is paying him the price. So what I have done is being paid. So I have to be very clear in the next step. I have to do the self-inquiry where I have to put the 4 groups of desires. First 3 groups of desires, I have to be very clear. Dharma, what is dharma? That I have to do what is right and good. Just stick to that in whatever the circumstances there. Think of it. We are just going deeper because I'm just revising it, helping you to digest these principles so that we can go deeper into understanding. The first, what is right and good, I have to follow in my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life. What is right and good cannot be dictated by my delusion or ego. It has to be dictated by the orderliness in my life. So I put my life into orderliness. Then the second is obviously I modified the pleasure, moderation in pleasure. If I have lot of challenges, and the third is the artha, the calm, artha, the wealth. So when you are doing what is right and good, when you follow moderation in pleasure, not getting intoxicated and forgetting, you will find the higher consciousness through the mind will offer you the opportunity. But what is the role here? Our role here is the 3 categories of desires should not disturb in my journey of self-discovery. In fact, from the Eastern wisdom perspective, our job is to find out that outer life should not disturb me. When I sit in meditation, when I sit in contemplation and reflection, it should help me to contemplate and reflect on I have lot of time for it. So when your mind says, I don't have a time, so first three factors have a problem. That's why we are awfully busy. Everyone can organize it, I can bet you. Everyone, anyone can organize it. If you cannot organize, so read, discover, do the self-inquiry. Where is the problem? So you have more and more time to do the self-inquiry. So that is what is the four groups of desires have to be clearly understood. The third is the ultimate harmony. So once I recognize that these are the four groups of desires, the first three groups of desires, I have to interact with the world outside, and the fourth group I have to interact with my own self. You see, 360-degree understanding. 360-degree. So I saw the humility of that girl, which attracted me rather than at a very physical level. It doesn't make any difference. So the ultimate harmony in these four will help us to rise in a higher consciousness. When? All the time. Where? In all the locations. Your mind may be taking these simple statements easily, but no, they are very higher principles. I'm explaining in a very simplified form. Ultimate harmony, the dharma, we say the dharma. Dharma means the action. Actions means I have an intention of what is right and good. I am doing in a particular situation. I'm always ready to follow what is right and good. I'm not ready to follow what my delusion says, what my pleasure says, what my ego says. That is what the dharma is. So don't take dharma as a religious. Dharma is literally translated as religion, but no, in Eastern wisdom we say, no, this is not the right interpretation. So when I'm doing something, what is right and good all the time with 100% responsibility, don't you think that I will get a return? Yeah. 1 out of the 10 people will say, no, 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 no. He's a crazy guy, I will not pay. Don't pay. Who cares? You learn something. So not paying means my mind becomes little stronger. I resist. I endure it. So that also helps me to take me to the next step of evolution. This is the harmony. We are striking the harmony inside. I am selfish. Teacher is always selfish, utterly selfish, more selfish than you guys. We enjoy our life. And then moderation in pleasure. So when you reach to the higher level of consciousness, that moderation also dissolves. Well, someone invites you for the parties, you go there, you enjoy there, but you don't miss the internal calmness and peace. Society says, yes, he has come to the party, but internally you are absorbed with yourself. That is the meaning of moderation in pleasure. So what happens, that harmony all the time, all the first three groups of desires is now very well directed to the journey of the self-discovery. Now, raise a question. I'm raising a question so that you should be very clear about this journey of awakening and enlightenment. You should be very clear. So there is a question, can enlightenment be attained if we do not balance the other three desires? Yes, possible. What to do? Become a monk. Follow the monk. Go to the monastery. So in the monastery, you need not to worry about to earn money and to eat your food. You get the 3 times food for 3 times. You get a shelter. You get 2 pairs of the clothes. Do you have that level of determination? Possible. It is possible. You need not to worry about it. So when you need not to worry about it, when you have that intense urge for awakening, which for Buddha it took 7 years to reach to that intense desire. He left first level, he left, he dared to leave the kingdom. Possible. It is 100% possible. So the monkhood means that the monkhood or the monastery helps you to get rid of the responsibility of the first 3 groups of desires. What you do, you wake up in the morning, attend the meditation, 3 hours of learning, and after that you take a rest, another 2 hours of contemplation. Before lunch, you are again you meditate in the evening, almost 10 to 12 hours. But do you have that intense desire? It is possible to reach to that state. But we all are living in the world, so it is also possible in the world. It is also possible. So that is why I talked about we need a harmony outside. So that harmony outside should help me not to get disturbed with small things in sometime loss, sometime pain, sometime pleasure, sometime job, sometime no job. Let me continue. Do I have that level of determination and dispassion? World means loss and gain. If you have a business, tell me you only gained, you only had a profit, you did not have a loss. You live with the body, can you tell me that you never became sick? That is the very nature of the world. One is more sick and one is less sick. That is the only difference. See that? So we should have a wider perspective if we are really looking for that state of awakening and enlightenment. Can moksha be 10 or enlightenment can be attained if we do not balance the other 3? Answer is yes. You bypassed, you escaped that. So in the monastery, there are still many monasteries in India. They help you to continue to study 10 hours. Do you have that 10 or 12 hours, 15 hours? Every day the same bread, every day the same food. And one day your mind says, no, I don't like, I want a change. You cannot be a monk. So there are some challenges there. So the best part is the living your householder life and balancing the 3. So you can have a moderation. You know, today I will go to the restaurant. So you can have in the worldly life also. So now what happens? You continue the journey. The time comes. This is only an intellectual understanding, but the next step, what happens into the mind, that your mind says desire of all desires is the self-discovery. Your mind declares. If your mind declares desire of all the desires is self-discovery, what it means? Practical, see the practical application. Practical application. You had a fever in the morning. Your mind said desire of all desires, self-discovery. Should I do meditation? Yes. First I will do meditation, then I will take care of my fever. You have such a strong determination. It has to be applied. You don't follow the mind. Mind follows you. because it is the desire of all the desires. What to tell you? No, I find very good people. This woman went to Europe in some country, otherwise she will be exposed. The father was on the deathbed. Father had $3 million, severely ill last year. So she had a question to me that we are a brother and a sister. Why my father paid 2 million to my brother and he is only paying me 1 million? I have to settle his score. So on the deathbed, she is fighting with the father. Recently, her father died. No, I went there for cremation. No, physical attitude, physical activity has less to do. Mental attitude has more to do with your journey of self-discovery. I see a lot of these challenges, people come to me. So the fourth desire is the desire of all the desire. Desire for the self-discovery is the desire of, can I breathe every breath, every thought, every feeling and the emotion takes my mind to the desire of all the desires in every situation. You will get rid of the delusion and you will continue to have a discerning intellect and the discernment in all the situations. You will not be carried away by the ego, not at all. Even if you make a statement out of the ego, you can immediately destroy it. It may come from the past impression, but you can instantly destroy it. You will continue to live with the humility. That is the power of the listening and learning from a teacher, what is known as the satsang. So I know a lot of non-seekers question. So do you think that it is only for the human being, not for other living species? Do you have an answer? Or do you have a doubt about it? Do you have the same question? If you have the same question, then you are a non-seeker. You are a non-seeker. When doctor came to me, my house last 3 years ago, she was saying that why you put all the animals at a lower level? No, we don't put it at the lower level. They are pre-programmed, they are controlled by the nature. That is what we say, the animal instinct. We have a choice to bypass the intellect. We have a choice, we cannot do. And if you cannot bypass, you will continue to suffer. So if I continue to live with the animal consciousness, I will continue to face the distortion, violence, anger, hesitation, duality, delusion, conflict. Through the self-inquiry, I have to come at the power of the nature, what the nature demands from me. Through the intellect, it says, refine your intellect, have a discernment and dispassion. Look, think, contemplate, and reflect before you act. Before you act. I gave you the same example of 360-degree understanding. So I was more concerned and I melted because of her humility. She was constantly saying, I'm really sorry, and everyone is watching. I said, forget about it, I'm okay. It's my face, I will grow my hairs, in another month. But I don't see any problem with it. No, I'm sorry. So I thought better to pay. She did not charge me for my trimming the beard, but I paid her. I said, no, I'm going to add. Don't lose an opportunity to enter into the 360-degree understanding. Animals cannot do, plants cannot do. I have to. That is what Master Buddha says: non-violence, a sense of kindness. That is what Master says, that my mind should manifest and express that sense of kindness and compassion whenever the opportunity is there. You do it silently. Do it in a different way. So that is the answer why it is only for the human being, not for the other living species to evolve. We have a chance to evolve. We are losing that opportunity. We have an advanced cognition and the intellect which animals do not have. We have a self-consciousness. They have their self-consciousness restricted to the body. We can find our self-consciousness independent of the body. Even a layman can easily understand. And that is an impetus for our growth and evolution. And that is why the Eastern wisdom says we can find our real self. We can find out because of that self-consciousness. Then from that self-awareness or the self-consciousness, we can find out, we can understand the lower level. I have a moral reasoning. Animals do not have a moral reasoning. They are walking naked and all kinds of the things. And that is why, because of that self-awareness, we have created the language and the symbolism to understand that higher consciousness. We have understood the creativity and the imagination. So all these creative faculties of the mind are used in the self-discovery. That is why we have a lot of metaphors. Think, think, think. Now, another question. You have to be very clear why I'm giving you all these points to help your mind understand. Because if you have a clarity in your intellect, if you have a clarity in the intellect, you have no doubt, you have a conviction, the journey will be easier. Journey will be healthier. Your mind will not go anywhere. So why all these desires, grouping and working on it? Why? You have an answer. I have the highest faculty of the intellect. I can discern. I can choose. I can find out. Why shouldn't I do it? You don't do it? The moment you don't do it, you fall below the nature. Your animal mind, impulsive mind, habitual mind, deluded mind, ego mind takes over you at that particular moment. I have to live into that state of self-awareness all the time. Our master says it is vikrati. The moment you leave the mind, or if I say you leave the mind under the domination of impulses, instinct, and the habit, it will create a lot of problem. Look at this, who is filing a bankruptcy. What exactly his mind did? He did not apply the discernment and dispassion. Just a year ago, he was having 10, Mustang and all those things. We have a lot of challenges in our life when the mind is not reined by the discernment and dispassion. Make it just think of this. when angry beyond control, driven by the rays. One example, now you bring it at the level, you channeling anger into the calm and a constructive action that is at par. This is the beginning of a discernment and dispassion. And then you rise above, having inner detachment and equanimity. Don't think it is too hard. Make it very simple. Make it very simple. I'm making it very simple. Otherwise, for you, you need to read 10 books and contemplate and reflect, live in a monastery, then you will understand. Making it very simple. The three levels: below the natural state, above the natural. Natural state is the nature. Nature. So below the nature, animal mind. Above the nature, beyond the mind. Into the higher consciousness. So we use the word Vikrati, Prakriti, and Sanskriti, VPS. Vikrati literally means, Vikrati means modified state, a distorted state. It refers to the lower, distorted state of the consciousness. One is driven by the base instincts. I should not be driven. I should work with the intellect. Only concern about the food and the bodily pleasures. I have unnecessary fears when I live below the nature. Prakriti means a natural state, the state of equilibrium when one's consciousness flows according to the inherent laws of the nature and the ethics. You are in a restaurant, you are eating what is required, and you are not driven by the pleasure. You don't overeat. You overeat, you fall below, you eat, naturally you say that is enough, natural state, and you don't have a preference of that food, that is, you are going above, you live above that. I'm not answering the question, you all are seekers. I'm not answering a question that, oh, should I live like this all the time? Live life even for a month and see the state of peace and happiness that you have in your life. Don't question, start living and then see. Then see what happens. Then you challenge me. So that is what the higher state is known as, the cultural, or you can say the spiritual state. Instantly, by simply following these simple principles of your life. Vikrati. First, I have to recognize what are the distorted states of the mind that I have, which puts me into different kind of a habit and action every day. I have to get rid of it. So when I have to get rid of it, it means I'm constantly juggling around the discernment and dispassion. I'm questioning why the mind you are going there, why the mind you fall into the lower consciousness. When you fall into the lower consciousness, then only you have a fear of insecurity, of anxiety, fear of death. There is no chance. You have a fear of death now? We're learning. Our masters have made us understand so easily. We have to digest and assimilate. We don't have the fear of the death at this time. Whenever you have a thought that puts you down into the animal state, then only your mind rationalizes you have a fear of the anxiety and the death. I have to shift my mind from the lower disturbed consciousness to a natural state, at least by discernment and dispassion. So find out, do you need to follow everyday discernment and dispassion? Yes, that is a journey of the struggle. I have to resist I have to endure the resistance of the mind. Mind every time goes there, I have to return and contemplate and reflect. Until I follow, I enter into the natural state. But no, I need not to continue. I need not to stop there. I have to continue discernment and dispassion. Then my intellect perceives, oh, there is a sense of detachment. There is a sense of detachment. In the childhood, I was attached to a toy, but now if you look at the toy, find out the state of your awareness. The one shirt that you bought yesterday, you remain attached, and after a few weeks, find out your attachment. Now you see it. You remember there is a liking for it, but now it is not disturbing you. You're living into the higher consciousness. I'm just giving a simple example. So every day, consciously you are living into that state all the time. First time you recognize what exactly is this higher consciousness, which has a 360-degree perspective. It does not move into a linear, it does not have a linear movement. Animal mind has a linear movement. Animal mind. No, you are talking of meditation, what to do, First I have to find a job, then I will meditate. So your animal mind is working this time. You don't have a time. Think. Think. Saturday's journey is more of an understanding. So once we enter into that state of, so we know that lower consciousness, natural consciousness, and then the higher consciousness. 3 states. We use it as a Vikriti, Prakriti, and the Sanskriti. Sanskriti literally means that now my mind is cultured. Cultured from the lower instincts, delusion, ego, pride, fears, to a higher state that as such there is no fear. I have understood it. I will continue to work and I will continue to awaken myself to that stage. Your binge eating will stop. Your habits will undergo a change. I can tell you, lot of challenges that you have been finding in your life will change. Your mind will not be focused. Your mind is not body oriented. Your mind is not instinct oriented. Your mind is not habit oriented. Your mind is looking at the vast space of the consciousness inside. That makes us a seeker. If we do not live into that state of being a seeker, then you may continue the journey. Yes, it may help you after 10 years or 15 years, but yes, the consistent and constant learning is required. That's why I told you that I lived with the master for 26 years. I was full. It was not so easy. Why it was not so easy? You listen to me. You all have a humility. You say namaste. Everything is good. But this mind deep inside still has some doubt regarding the validity of the teaching. Why there is a validity of the teaching? Because we have been suffering in our life. So our suffering catches our attention much more than the knowledge. That is why the constant, consistent listening and learning. Second problem is the distraction. Even while I talked and I was discussing, your mind must have been distracted at different places. That is the second challenge. So that challenge, Brahman, It says the praman asambhavana. Praman asambhav. Validity of the teaching. My mind listens to it calmly, it agrees with it, but still it says, where is the validity? Because I don't have an experience of that state. So it is natural. We agree with that. We say, okay, we will make you understand why you have those doubts. We will go to the root of the doubt and we will remove it. That is why what we are learning on Saturday's session, that's why it's more an understanding part. Doubt regarding the object to be realized. I can see you, I can see $1 million, I can see the car, can be realized if I buy the car and bring it home. I see the house, but I don't see the real self. So the mind continues to hover around. Oh, no, I don't see the real self. Everything looks rosy, good, happy, but where is the real self? So the mind continues to live in ignorance. We have to get rid of that ignorance constantly. Until that ignorance and the delusion goes away, it is not possible. Our mind cannot really fathom the depth. It forgets. It forgets. Now, if I don't see the light, the tube light, if I don't see the fan, if I don't see the AC, if I don't see, no, I need not to see any one of them. I have to see the one source, that is electricity. I have to develop a perception of the third eye. I have to develop a different perception. From there I started the journey. What? Do you remember? I'm again taking you 360 degree. I have to understand what is the cause, ultimate cause of this bulb, of this fan, of this AC, of this big machine, of this smartphone. I forget every time. So that, remember, reminds me of third eye perception. Yes, unless I have that level of awareness, I cannot reach to that state of consciousness. Distraction, I told you, is the second problem. And third is the ignorance, the wailing. Fan is good. Okay, I see. But behind the fan is acting as a veil. Light is acting as a veil behind it. The electricity is present. Behind the smartphone, it works so beautifully. Electricity is the main. Look at it. Unless we develop that analytical ability in the intellect to help us to rise in awareness, nothing is going to happen. Then we can ask a lot of unnecessary questions, and just for the sake of pleasure and enjoyment. Actually, I have to shift. I have to shift. The more I shift, the better it is. So I have already explained to you that I summarized all the sessions. Now, how to start our journey. So I gave you a brief that there are 6 or 7 steps. So we will start picking up the first step, each step in our journey. Eyes are closed. And how many facets of your awareness can work when I say eyes are closed? Did you do something special that your eyes are closed? You have to analytical. You have to analyze. Am I aware with eyes closed, or am I aware differently with eyes open? What is the difference? Can you analyze it? Awareness is the same. Awareness is the same, my friends. Where is different? The objects. With your eyes open, there are many objects in front of you. Now no object is there. You see the third eye? You need not to create a story around the third eye. It is a discerning and dispassion intellect which helps me to live into higher awareness. I'm trying to explain in a very easy manner. So what I said that awareness of the objects were different with eyes open, and awareness of the objects were different with eyes closed. Was there any difference of awareness? Answer is no. What we are searching this awareness, this knower. So what happened? So this is what we say, the withdrawal of the senses from their respective objects. And what is the way? Do I need to do a practice? No, I need not to do any practice. Go to your ears and become aware of the physical ears. The words that I'm speaking is striking your ears. And there is an awareness inside. That is how you hear the sound and the words. So when you are aware, they are independent. One awareness inside knows the sound. One awareness inside goes through the eyes, knows the form and the color. One awareness knows. You see, it is one awareness, one electricity. I gave an example. One awareness goes to the nose. Oh, yes. And it is the same awareness that gives me a knowledge of the smell, the touch, the sound, Am I in the third eye perception? Answer is yes. It's a practical. It is practical, pragmatic, here and now. Now ask, what will happen if I do like this? You will not be attached to any object of the senses. There is neither an attachment, there is nor detachment. But what will happen? I do not become selfish. Then what will happen? There is no delusion. Then what will happen? There is a dispassion, there is a discerning intellect, and I find a new level of awareness. That awareness will help me Or you can say that state of the mind. If you don't want to say awareness, it's okay. You simply say that is only, no, I could see a mental state. Yes, I'm okay with it. So even if you say the mental state, it means that now the mind has risen from the animal mind to a natural state, to a little higher than it. The same mind now perceives in freedom. One electricity is realized behind the complex working of the phone and the fan and the AC and the machine and the tube light. So when I pay more attention to the objects, I raise the doubt. And that doubt doesn't help me to go deeper. Look at it, how simple it is. Any disturbances in the mind manifest and experienced as anxiety, fear, duality, and a conflict. When our mind subjectify what is objects. Oh, I see a ghost. Objective, I subjectified. The appearance of some structure. Do you see that? So I'm attached to that. Now in current state, the mind is already living at a higher level. Understand, higher level means the higher awareness. Higher level means beyond attachment and detachment, beyond the natural urges. If I don't regulate my inner, no lower urges, I cannot progress. Find out if can you progress. They will constantly disturb you. You have to find out yourself. This is your area. One area of the animal consciousness constantly pricking your mind puts you down, and then you enjoy the higher state, and then it pricks you down, go up and down, go up and down. That is what the distraction is noted. So we have to reach to that state of non-distracted state. We started our journey today. I told you there is one physical perception, one electricity, one consciousness, first reflected into the mind, reflected into the wire, reaches to the eyes and the five sense organs, reaches to the light and the AC and the smartphone and long list. Now I subjectify. Oh, what a beautiful smartphone I have. I'm immersed into this is the animal nature. Animal nature means bound, limited by the body. So limited by the body, and the mind means craving for suffering from fear and anxiety, duality. What we are trying to get, where we are trying to get, we are understanding analytically, we are using the intellect, reflecting on it, And after reflection, we find yes, it is possible to live at a higher awareness, not to subjectify all my objects. I may have a big house, I may have a small house, I may have a big phone, I may be smarter than you at the physical, more beautiful than you. It doesn't matter at all. Unless you live into that perception, you cannot have, you cannot find the third eye. Cannot find the third eye. Not possible. And once you find the third eye, I can bet you you continue to live into that state. Your mind and body follows that third perception for as long as you wish. It is more exalted, it is more beautiful, it is more calmer. So when any thought comes, you recognize. Recognize means a cognitive ability. Oh, mind, you're subjectifying? No way, I'm not going there. And you live into that state. Yes, we need some extraordinary awareness. Means what extraordinary awareness? Same, the discerning intellect analyzed what is not required, naturally dropped. You start looking the water in the waves. You start looking, it is all the functioning of electricity in one, in all these gadgets. From the smartphone to the big machines, to the fan, to the AC. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. Why we follow the Saturday session? Because that self is already there. It exists. I have to do some practice to create the self. So that contradicts because it is already there. So I have to only understand where it is, how to achieve it. Yes, how are you, David and Jerry?
lesson. I mean, Saturday is totally different, and I really, really walk away from a lot from the Saturday lesson. The awareness of the difference between the 180-degree and the 360-degree today for me was kind of eye-opening. And using that going into my meditation, it felt like I had this log jam that just sort of broke loose because I realized the true meaning of that. So it was very impactful for me. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Why don't you understand? It is 180 degree. Let me make you understand in a different way. 360 degree. I recognize. Oh, I recognize. You're not getting it. No, let me explain you in a different way. Our masters have been so kind. They have been teaching and teaching and teaching and talking and talking. But if we are ready, we become a seeker. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
I'm good, thank you. It's such a beautiful lesson. Choice is, the mind has absolutely no doubt about the ability to choose and how it precisely shapes our attitude and our mind. And everyone has their own choices. No one can make choices for us. So each of us, that is what we do. We shape ourselves. We shape our minds and our attitudes and our life. And then that's how we show up. And it's just, that's one of my favorite lessons ever.
Yes, you are right. So what Eastern wisdom is doing, you are right. We all have our mind have our own choices. So the Eastern wisdom strengthens that if you make these choices, you are going to evolve. So in the beginning, you make the choices as the master is teaching, or as the Eastern wisdom knowledge speaks about it. And once the mind is tuned with that, you are there. That is the only difference. That is the only difference of understanding. Beautiful. Jerry, how are you, Terry?
I'm good. Yes, I enjoyed I'm thinking about the electricity, and I understand the metaphor. I'm thinking about the animals, and they sometimes, I don't know if I can say, they appear to be in a meditative state.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have thought.
Yeah.
But is that true?
Yes, we may say they may appear as into a meditative state, but they don't recognize they are in meditative state. They need to separate their subjective from the objective reality. They only know they are the body. They only know they are the instincts. They only know they are the habit. The two brother lion fighting against each other to mate the lioness. They don't think they are brothers. We know they are brothers. We know them. So no thought occurs into their mind that, come on, I'm also a brother to you, you take it. I will find someone. No, they will kill one. So that choice is not there.
When you subjectify,
I subjectify means I see the anxiety in the mind. Now subjectifications mean I am anxiety. That is the
like you own it.
There is a fear of the space outside. Now I am fear. This is subjectification.
You become.
You become. That is causing the problem. And we become, but we are not. They cannot be identified. They cannot become one. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it was very, it was a kind of more of understanding. Means I was lying down and slowly I was understanding what you were telling, and my mind was going inside.
Good.
And the sensation in the body was becoming deeper and deeper and deeper as I kept on understanding each and everything. The,
Yeah.
my body became more stiff and more
Yeah.
sensations were there as it progressed.
Yes, yes.
As the time went on.
Understanding is nothing but the knowledge, and that knowledge removes the ignorance and the delusion, and it helps us to rise in awareness. That is what we say normally. How are you, Brandy?
My experience was really similar to Girish in that I just focused on how much choice we have. And when the mind's in delusion, it doesn't want to recognize the choice. It doesn't want to recognize the discernment or the ability to shift perception. And like it's the thing we always talk about on Saturdays, how simple that is, but not easy.
Yeah.
To engage in the choice to go higher.
So it is easy when you decide to contemplate today on what I discussed for at least 10 to 15 hours today. Don't distract your mind. It becomes easy. It becomes easy. No, I don't have time 10 hours. No, I have a lot of things to enjoy in my life. So that enjoyment, mind is going down. It is looking for a pleasure inside. But I don't recognize it. And that is where the problem lies. So gradually it comes. Gradually. Yes, very good. Are you, Dennis?
Thank you for these Saturday sessions. It feels like every session like this adds at least 1 degree to my understanding of this reality. And also I find that the mind becomes so calm when it understands that there is nothing in the outside objects to be attached to. And only when this mind lacks this complete knowledge or this 360-degree understanding that you referred to, it will follow this limited knowledge that it has and will seek pleasure where it is not.
Yes. You see what he is saying, the greater the understanding, higher the knowledge, calmer the mind. So just by understanding your mind becomes calm, it means what the calmness is already present. So the calmness was destroyed by misunderstanding. What is misunderstanding? That is what we say ignorance. That is what we say distraction. Think. You have to bring your entire understanding 360 degrees. Oh, this is what you are saying, ignorance and distraction and the veil. Yes. So when I have an intense attachment to something, is it a veil over my knowledge? Just see that. It is a veil over the knowledge. I subjectified it. I gave you 200% my honey. My honey says I throw all the 200% on you. Now we are gone. I gave you the example of this. Now see, I gave 200%. It means I'm veiling that knowledge. It is instinctive. It is impulsive. It is habitual. How are you, Sam?
The lesson and the experiences that Jerry and Brandy talked about reminded me of something you've talked about, which is that every experience we have is an opportunity to apply discernment and dispassion when we allow it.
Yes, you see that you have to question in your head, is awareness first or experience first? If awareness is first, it is independent of all the experiences. We have many experiences in our life. Means all experiences are separate and different from me. What it means? Experience of fear because of you, or experience of pleasure because of you. They both are different and independent of me, independent of you. Also, that I awareness is totally independent. You are there. We subjectify all our experiences, and then we fall prey. Then we make a statement, I gave 200% to you, honey. And on the other side, it says, I'm looking for your money. You gave 200% to me. Or anything else, Or you have a different agenda set. Anyhow, that is all for today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.